I think it's worth telling the story of how I came to do my yoga teacher training with Frog Lotus Yoga, because now that I've been on the flip side and been teaching at dozens of teacher trainings with Frog Lotus, I've seen that it's very similar things that tend to bring people to the teacher training. And in my life, what that was is it's safe to say, I was feeling a little bit lost. Didn't really know what I was doing with myself. I was feeling like I didn't totally belong, even though I had carved out a pretty good life for myself. I was working in an office job, and it was a pretty cool office job for an office job. It was a nonprofit job, and I got to travel a lot to Central and South America. I worked with some truly wonderful, wonderful people, and yet I was not satisfied. And I finally found that the reason I wasn't satisfied is because every day I walked into that office, even though there were so many great things in that job, I felt like I was putting on a mask. And I felt like I wasn't able to be really honest and true to myself, that I wasn't able to express who I really was, and I wasn't able to live the things that were really alive in my heart. And there came a point where that simply wasn't sustainable for me anymore. I just couldn't do it anymore. And I knew I needed something different. I knew I wanted a richer, more full experience that really allowed me to feel like I was showing up completely, wholly myself. And so I went in search of that. And I had no idea where to look. I had a few kind of leads, and over a couple months I narrowed it down to 3 choices. My 3 choices were, I was going to be a pilot, because I thought that would be cool. I was going to be a journalist because that's a profession I really respect and I love to write. Or I was going to be a yoga teacher. And that was because at the time I was really falling in love with yoga. It was giving me so much peace and centering at a difficult time in my life for me. And I had a desire to share that with other people. What really, I think, turned the corner for me is that I used to teach a free yoga class during that time before I was certified. Shh, don't tell anyone. I was teaching for free at a local community center, a group of women who had never had access to yoga before, and they loved it. We had such a great time together. And the most amazing thing about that experience for me is that I would teach on a Monday night. So I was coming, I mean, we all know how Mondays can be when you're working in a corporate 9-to-5 job. I would go on a Monday. I was usually not in a very good mood. I just had a long work day. And at that point in my life, honestly, all I really wanted to do was go home, veg out, kick my shoes off, and drink a beer, or 3, honestly. Instead, I would go home, get dressed, get my head straight, and bike over to teach this yoga class. I would roll out my mat and we would practice for an hour. At that point, I really did not know what I was doing, but it was amazing to me to feel the effects of teaching. Not just taking a class, but teaching a class. I would leave feeling so happy and renewed and positive about life and about myself, having connected with these women in a way that I wasn't able to connect with people in my normal 9-to-5 job. So that was really my biggest clue, that that was the direction that I needed to go. So I decided to take the leap, and I sold off almost all of my belongings. What was left I packed in my Volvo station wagon, and I drove it to Massachusetts to train with Jennifer Yarrow of Frog Lotus Yoga. And I had no plan for what to do following the training, but I knew that I was ready, and I went with a lot of trust in my heart. And the training changed my life in incredible ways as a result.